What's up, guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Void Horror Podcast. My name is Alex, and today we're going to be doing a spoiler-free review of another vampire movie. Yeah, it's called Boys from County Hell, and it was pretty fucking good. So yeah, we got another vampire movie, and as you know, I'm not a huge fan of them, but I've been surprised lately by some of the vampire movies we've been getting. They're actually feeling fresh and original and fun. Man, like this year has just been horror comedies like that have just been blowing it out of the water. So this is the year of the horror laugh, I guess. So what is Boys from County Hell? Group of hardy road workers with a son and father who seem to never get along must survive the night when they accidentally knock over a cairn to awaken an ancient Irish vampire. Now, this is obviously kind of put together, the idea it seems, because Bram Stoker was Irish, and there is some sort of lore behind cairns, and if you're not familiar with those it's the pile and stack of rocks that some people put up for trails, and they also do it for memorials, and in this particular case, they use it to mark the gravesite of a fucking old-ass vampire. Even the local pub is called the Stoker, where these kids spend a lot of their times throughout the film. This movie even kind of starts off to kind of a wink and a nod to An American Werewolf in London, which is kind of awesome. This movie is, of course, written and directed by Chris Ball, who has another movie called A Bad Day for the Cut. He co-wrote this story with Brendan Mullen, who is also the producer on this film, and also helped write A Bad Day for the Cut. So what did I think of Boys from County Hell? Well, the name is a little peculiar, but it is a good movie, and I was instantly drawn into this movie's sort of presence and characters and writing, like, immediately off the bat. It has a sort of a serious tone about it, but it's also considered a horror comedy, and it is probably more for the dark humor or dry humor types, as there is some really funny stuff that happens in this in the beginning of the second act. The humor in it made me laugh out loud multiple times, hilariously through the second act. Now, the comedy in this movie, it's not just a comedy movie. Like, this movie is just entertaining. A lot of people are kind of giving it faults for not being funny throughout the whole movie, and there was some funny moments throughout the movie, but it wasn't like intending to be the funniest movie that's ever been made. It has a lot of like tension and great score work and camera and cinematography, and you really do give a shit about the different characters that you meet and how they deal with each of these situations and what the fuck is actually happening. Because in this movie, they do things a lot different than most of your vampire lore. Now, I, again, am not the biggest lore fan of vampires or anything, but they did some pretty cool, interesting stuff. Some people are calling this Irish Nosferatu, which I don't know that I would necessarily connect with that, but it is a good movie, so that can't be a bad thing. The movie instantly starts off with something that makes you go, wait, what the fuck is happening? And instantly pulls you in because you're waiting for it to break. And at the second act, it really does break, but not like widespread panic zombie apocalypse style. The way that a vampire movie worth its salt, I would think, does, and that is to lure you into its grasp slowly. Now, it's not a slow film by any means. The way it's written, it really kind of flows for me personally very well. There are some people that said that it had some dips and stuff like that in the movie, which I guess I could see that. Because the movie does kind of make you want to see more and more and more, and it kind of gets you really excited because you were like hoping for this huge Dawn of the Dead type movie, but you got to remember that it's, of course, an indie film in Ireland. Some of the dialogue is slick, some of the acting is really spot on and real. Some of it is very comedically and well-timed. Some of the ideas that they put into this movie I thought were really just interesting. There's some twists and turns. There's some very subtle moments in the movie, subplot story elements that are going on that you may catch in the very beginning of the movie, and then they will bring them back in later on in the second or third act, which I thought was, really effective. And I thought it was like a really nice touch. It seems like they really knew the script very well, and they really knew what they wanted to do with this film. Of course, this movie does not look like a film that is on the cheap. It is an independent film, though. And what they did with it is really, really impressive, in my opinion. Do I want to see more like this? You're damn right. Would I have loved to see a wild, rampant, in the streets, everything going crazy kind of movie? Sure. But this is an indie film. I had to kind of lower my expectations just a little bit because I was just so elated with what was happening. And it kind of feels like there is a moment in the movie where it kind of curbs that kind of quick. And I could see that bothering a lot of people because, of course, it's like that thirst quencher. You really want that satiated. But we still have to remember they have to keep it within the confines of the movie. And that's probably something that would be better dealt with in a sequel. I would be totally about seeing a sequel. There are some elements left behind that could make for a pretty tasty one. One thing I could point out that some people may find a little bit confusing, or at least in the dialogue, is that it is very Irish, and it is not going to pump the brakes on sort of their catchphrases and things that you may not be privy to. So I had to sometimes think about what they were talking about. I had no idea what a cairn is, so I had to learn that too. So, which is those pile of rocks I was talking about. But just a minor gripe, really. And the only other negative thing I can think of is that it does sort of take a couple roadblocks in certain spots, but picks back up shortly after. But I didn't mind it. I'm really impressed with this one. I would probably give this movie an 8, maybe an 8.5. I'd need to see it a second time to see if some of the issues that I might have had with the movie, with some of the pacing, bothered me as much, or if I was just being too particular about my own perceived direction. But I think it was fantastic. This is obviously a very well done movie that I think I would be more than glad to put on the shelf and watch anytime, just because I know it's that fun. And I just enjoyed the hell out of it. But what did you guys think? I mean, did you enjoy the humor? Did you think that there wasn't enough humor? There is a kind of a weird mix of like reality and humor in it. The first act of the movie, I felt like this movie was like a serious film. And then the second act happened and I couldn't stop laughing. So I can see that being confusing for the regular viewer, because I think a lot of people really have to have a very familiar tone throughout an entire movie. And I'm kind of probably too ADD to give a shit, because honestly, I like when shit comes out of left field for no reason sometimes and just throws my expectations out the fucking window and then, does something unique. And this movie did that. So I would love to hear what you guys think about this movie in the comments below. I expect it to be a divisive one for many of you. But for me personally, I thought it was just the right amount of everything. And I would love to see more from this director in the future. And I'm definitely going to go back and check out Bad Day for the Cut. Even though it's not a comedy, I just want to check it out. But let me know what you guys think in the comments section down below. But if you enjoyed this content, please hit the like and subscribe button. It really does mean a lot to smaller channels like myself, because we do this because we love this shit. And I hope you do too. And I hope I express that and help you find movies that you will love or hate in the future. Anyway, thanks for stopping by. And as always, long live the void.